If it takes you a lot of words to answer that question, there's a problem.
Right.
So that was Jerry Jones' 40 seconds way of telling you, we got a problem here with Dak Prescott, and I don't understand it. Explain it to me. This is the one thing Jerry said in there that's 100% true. This has never been a problem for Dak Prescott before. Why is it suddenly one now?
Well, it comes down to the decision-making, and Dan Orlovsky did a great job of outlining it earlier in the week. There are throws that Dak is making that he just shouldn't, based on the looks, the coverages that the defense is presenting.
I understand, but that's the opposite of what he's always been, Chris. Why is he suddenly a guy who's making bad reads when we have lauded the decision-making for so long?
That's a great question. Maybe it has something to do with the absence that he had and missing 5 games earlier in the season, but he just has not been able to round into form, and you want to be playing your best ball when you're going into the playoffs. You can't say that about Dak Prescott. He had 14 completions and a pick 6 on Sunday against the Commanders in a situation where that team had absolutely nothing to play for. So I'm concerned, 15 total turnovers since week 8. And here's the other thing, Greeny. In the playoffs, Dak Prescott has played in 4 playoff games. He's got three turnovers. He's got turnovers in 3 of those games.
Yeah.
That is a problem. The best indicator for future performance is past performance. So Dak has been turning the ball over a lot in the second half of this season, and he turns the ball over a lot in the playoffs.
And that's obviously something they cannot afford. So, Nick, it's weird because if you had told me before the season the Cowboys will have this or that problem, I might have believed you. If you had said the problem is going to be that Dak leads the league in interceptions, I would never have believed you.
Yeah, I mean, I think Dak is putting a lot of pressure on himself, and he's trying to force plays because this offense puts a lot of pressure on him. I think that's part of the issue. I think also it's kind of a bit unlucky. There's a lot of players that quarterbacks put the ball in dangerous situations, and DBs drop them oftentimes. I know it's a joke that I don't appreciate about cornerbacks not being able to catch, but it's kind of true sometimes. They aren't dropping them now, and he's also doing really, really dumb, un-Dak-like things, like the pick 6 against the Eagles was like essentially a handoff to the defensive lineman. So, like, he needs to get over those issues, and I think some of the luck stuff will wear off.
And then to the point that Chris just made a minute ago here, D. Wood, Dan Orlovsky did a really good job of diagramming, like, simple reads that he's getting wrong, which, again, is the opposite of what we know Dak Prescott has been through most of his career. So how do you explain these struggles?
I mean, like, the simple thing would be, like, he's not seeing the field like he normally does because it's so uncharacteristic of Dak throughout his career to be turning the ball over at the clip he's turning the ball over right now. Also, I'm going to look at it as this way, too. Dallas defense is not playing, like, up to snuff like they once were. Like, you're starting to see, like, teams, like, driving the field, scoring points. And we know when you get in a situation like that, as a quarterback, you're all of a sudden pressed. I got to make plays because guess what? My defense hasn't been holding it down like once before. So I think all those things are combining for the fact that Dak is he's just reckless with the ball right now.
Kmart, as you talk to people around the league, what are you hearing about this offense and this star quarterback in particular?
Well, obviously, everybody points to this doesn't look like the same Cowboys team that we saw early in the season, even midway through the season. When it comes to Dak, no one has answers as to the why, except he is just not doing what he's normally done. I do think there is pressure. I think when you have Jerry Jones, when your owner literally talks nonstop about the playoffs and the Super Bowl, and I think we talked about Mike McCarthy and is he on the hot seat? Really, Dak is always on the hot seat. Like, this team goes as he goes, and I don't know what is. I think
we don't appreciate, like, we talk about, like, physical fatigue and, like, you can't ask too much of Lamar on the ground, but I don't think we appreciate the, like, intellectual and mental fatigue that it could come from asking a quarterback who, since he's really good at the mental part of the game, you're like, man, we can put a bunch in the offense in the game plan this week. We can have an answer for every single problem in every single, like, tough situation. Put it on Dak to figure out. I think part of it is, like, he doesn't get easy options that other quarterbacks get.
We asked Josh Allen, we asked Lamar, we asked Patrick Mahomes. Patrick, all those guys are asked to raise the level of their team.
Oh, no, I agree. I guess I'm talking about Josh Allen is not asked to read nearly as much as Dak Prescott is. Like, Josh Allen is, and so that's my point. It's like every third down to ask him to read an entire field is a lot to ask somebody to do consistently.
I'll say it. He doesn't run enough. They need to. He is an excellent runner with the football, both in trying to buy time, in creating offensive plays, and in actually running for first downs. They don't do that nearly enough. Josh Allen does it all the time. That's not him, but he should be doing much much more of that.
This is
Final
a critical
thought.
moment for Dak Prescott in his career. I don't think this is a referendum on whether or not he's a good quarterback, but this is a career-defining moment for Dak Prescott. Is he going to ascend to the level of Jalen Hurts or Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes or those guys, or is he going to go the way of Kirk Cousins?
And it is a referendum.
That's the question that we have to figure out.
Why does that face?
Did he say ascend to the level of Jalen Hurts?
He did. He did. Well, I think
Show's party's over.
Why are you getting up?
Because that's a lot to handle.
He's processing. He's
I just need to
Let me just sit with
give
it.
me some space here. Ascend to the Jalen Hurts level?
Yeah, look, I think.
Woo! Boy, this show is popping this morning. I'll say that.
Here's what I say. I will give the floor to my esteemed colleague over here from the great state of Virginia, because before the season started, if you had said Dak needs to ascend to the level of Jalen Hurts, it would have sounded ridiculous. Right now, Jalen Hurts is a legitimate MVP candidate.
Yeah.
Dak led the league in interceptions. I can't disagree with what you're saying, can't he?
No, I mean, Jalen Hurts was in the MVP conversation before he got hurt in Chicago. Yeah. Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in that division. That's a problem when Jerry Jones is paying a quarterback $40 million. The Dallas Cowboys, since the last 3 years, have been able to say we have the best quarterback in the division. That's not the case anymore.
You almost took D Wood out, man.
Well, we almost lost D Wood there.
We almost lost D Wood
Let me play you, because I've been talking about it all. We were going to go to Jalen Hurts here anyway. I want you to hear the coach talking about the status of Jalen's shoulder, because that obviously is critical. Here's the coach.
We're fortunate that we have 2 weeks till the next time we play. He's going to be a little bit more healthy than when he was, obviously the other day. He came out of that game sore because it's still healing. We didn't feel like we were putting him at any more risk of getting more injured, but we knew it was going to hurt him like hell, and he knew it was going to hurt him like hell.
Okay, so quite simply, what is exactly riding on the health of the shoulder of Jalen Hurts?
The NFC Championship, like which team represents the NFC in the Super Bowl, it will be determined by how Jalen Hurts' shoulder feels. I think that the Eagles are the best team in the conference when he's healthy and he's playing at his best. And I think that includes the 49ers. If he is not healthy and he's not playing at his best, this team is very, very beatable.
So let me circle back and tie the two conversations together, because D Wood, you seemed thrown.
That's a good way.
when Chris Canty said that Dak has to ascend to that level, but I think it's a reasonable way of looking at it. Dominique just said that Jalen Hurts will decide if he's healthy, they're the best team, and if he's not, they're not. I mean, Jalen Hurts has been that good, right?
He has been that good. I still question whether. I don't think there's much difference between the Eagles and the 49ers.
Okay.
I don't think there's much difference between the two. But I will say for the Eagles' sake, Jalen Hurts better be 100%, and everything better be available to the Eagles, because they don't have the design runs and the unique ability that Jalen Hurts is not going to be able to be on display. They are not coming out of the NFC.
What do we know about how healthy he actually is? The coach just said he hurts like hell.
Yeah. Well, that's the benefit for the Eagles is that they do have time off. And this is what we're talking about. Had he not played, he would have been on the shelf for 34 days. As of right now, they feel like there's enough time for him to improve. And this is why you want the bye. For moments like this, where you know, okay, he got on the field, he's banged up, but we've got some time to rest him. But to your point, this is similar to Lamar Jackson. Like, if these two guys are not fully healthy when they step on the field, it severely impacts what this team is able to do. When you look at the Eagles, they have 60 more explosive plays than any other team in the NFL. That is due to Jalen Hurts. 2 of those are Gardner Minshew, but that is largely due to Jalen Hurts. So when he is not himself, you will not scare teams the same way.
Is it as simple as, if Hurts is healthy, as Hurts goes, so go the Eagles? If he's good, they're the team to beat in the NFC, yes or no?
Yes, but I mean, you could say that about any quarterback, any team except for the San Francisco 49ers, who have turned their quarterback into gray matter. But when looking at this Eagles team, it's more than just Jalen Hurts. This team has had 8 games this season where they've run the ball more than they've passed the ball.
Right.
And this team.
But isn't that mostly him?
Well, but that's my point.
Yeah.
I mean, the threat of Jalen Hurts being a part of that run game is almost as important, or even more important, than them being able to throw the ball down the field and outside of the numbers. So you have a strong, dominant running game with Jalen Hurts being a threat to go along with that front 4 that can rush the passer. I think that's a formula that can win you playoff games.
So I didn't ask the question well. Dominique said His health will determine it. If he's good, they win the NFC. If he's not, they don't. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I agree with that from this standpoint. Is Shane Steichen willing to call design runs for Jalen Hurts?
Right.
Because he wasn't against the New York Giants in Week 18, and you saw Jalen Hurts protecting himself. If he's healthy enough to have those design runs, then I think the Eagles get to the Super Bowl out of the NFC.
A lot was on the line for them last Sunday, but everything wasn't on the line.